On a warm July night in 1969, at a secluded English country estate, the founder of the Rolling Stones, Brian Jones, was found dead at the bottom of his swimming pool. While officially ruled death by misadventure, a dark truth lingered. A fight over money with a builder, Frank Thorogood, led to a violent struggle that ended in tragedy, a secret that would haunt the music world for decades, with some fringe theorists even attaching the young star's death to fellow ex-band members Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. This isn't just a story about rock and roll excess, it's about betrayal, cover-ups, and the ultimate price of fame. Before Mick Jagger became the iconic frontman and Keith Richards the riff-master, there was Brian Jones, a charismatic and prodigiously talented multi-instrumentalist from Cheltenham. Brian was the visionary who formed the Rolling Stones in 1962, naming them after a Muddy Waters song. Shortly after, he recruited Jagger, Richards, and Charlie Watts, shaping their early sound with a purist devotion to American rhythm and blues. Brian wasn't just in the band, he was its very foundation. Brian Jones was the band's sonic alchemist, weaving exotic textures into the Stones' raw blues sound that no one else dared to touch. Think of the shimmering sitar on Paint It Black, the haunting marimba on Under My Thumb, or the whimsical recorder on Ruby Tuesday. These were all Brian's inventive genius at work. He was the musical chameleon, the undisputed leader who pushed boundaries and brought an unprecedented sophistication to their early hits. His contributions were vital, unique, and truly irreplaceable. But as the band's fame exploded, a significant power shift began to unfold, slowly eroding Brian's position. The burgeoning songwriting partnership of Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, famously dubbed the Glimmer Twins, started churning out hit after hit. Brian, not a natural songwriter, found himself increasingly sidelined and marginalized, creating deep resentment and a growing sense of paranoia within the band he had founded. This tension would become a dangerous wedge. At the heart of Brian's unraveling was the enigmatic and stunning Anita Pallenberg, a model and actress who embodied the rebellious spirit of the swinging 60s. Their relationship was a whirlwind of glamour, passion, and volatility, with Anita often seen as Brian's muse and partner in their shared exploration of fashion and excess. She was a central figure in his life, and her presence only amplified the drama surrounding him. Then came the notorious 1967 trip to Morocco, an event that delivered a devastating blow to Brian's already fragile state. Brian, unwell and increasingly paranoid, became volatile during the journey. In a shocking act of betrayal that would haunt him, Keith Richards drove off with Anita Pallenberg, beginning a scandalous relationship that would last for years. Brian didn't just lose his girlfriend, he lost her to his closest bandmate, a wound that never truly healed. Following this profound betrayal and his diminishing role, Brian plunged into a spiraling abyss of drug and alcohol abuse. His reliability plummeted. He missed recording sessions, and his once brilliant musical contributions dwindled, replaced by erratic behavior. While contemporaries like Jimi Hendrix and Jim Morrison were also battling their demons, Brian's addiction became a liability the polished Rolling Stones machine could no longer tolerate. It was a rapid and tragic decline. The ultimate indignity arrived in June 1969. Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and Charlie Watts drove to Brian's idyllic Cotchford farm to deliver the crushing news. He was out of the band. Brian, the founder, the visionary, was being replaced just weeks before a major U.S. tour. Imagine being fired from the empire you built right before it explodes in popularity. A humiliation so profound, it left him utterly broken, staring into an uncertain, empty future. Just weeks after his expulsion, Brian was at Cotchford Farm, a house with a poignant history as the former home of A. Milne, creator of Winnie the Pooh. On the night of July 2nd, 1969, he hosted a small gathering, including his Swedish girlfriend Anna Wolin, and a builder named Frank Thorogood and his assistant. The atmosphere was reportedly charged with tension. Brian was volatile, and deep-seated animosity allegedly simmered over money owed for construction work. When Brian Jones's body was discovered at the bottom of his swimming pool, the official verdict was swift and seemingly conclusive: death by misadventure. The coroner attributed his drowning to an unfortunate combination of alcohol and barbiturates, suggesting he was simply too incapacitated to save himself. It was a neat, convenient explanation for a tragic life, one that allowed the Rolling Stones to move forward without further scandal as they prepared for their American tour. But for many, the official story felt incomplete, pointing to one man as the central figure in the unfolding mystery: Frank Thorogood. This local builder, hired by Brian for renovations at Cochford Farm, was reportedly the last person to see Brian alive in the pool. Thorogood's conflicting statements to the police and subsequent alleged actions would cast a long, dark shadow over the accidental drowning. The case took a shocking turn in 1993 when Frank Thorogood, dying of cancer, allegedly made a stunning confession to Tom Keelock, the Rolling Stones' former road manager. With others reportedly present, Thorogood is said to have declared, quote, "It was me that did Brian." While he reportedly maintained it was an accident, a fight that went too far, this admission sent tremors through the existing narrative. The alleged motive for such a violent confrontation points to money and bruised egos. Brian reportedly owed Thorogood a significant sum for the building work, around £8,000, a truly substantial amount in 1969. Witnesses claimed Brian was in a furious mood that day, having fired Thorogood and his crew. The theory suggests a heated argument over finances escalated into a physical struggle in the pool, with devastating consequences. Whispers of a cover-up have persisted for decades, fueled by questions about the swiftness and perceived inadequacy of the original police investigation. Why was crucial evidence seemingly overlooked, and why were key witnesses not thoroughly interviewed? Many speculate that powerful forces, perhaps within the Rolling Stones' management, exerted pressure to quickly close the case and avoid a career-ending scandal for the band. It certainly wouldn't be the first time money and influence shaped a narrative. Adding another unsettling layer to the mystery is the testimony of Janet Lawson, a nurse who was at Cochford Farm that fateful night. She later alleged that just before Brian's death, she saw Frank Thorogood take Brian's asthma inhaler, a detail that could have significantly impacted his ability to breathe underwater. Lawson also claimed Thorogood and Tom Keelock were acting suspiciously and seemed to try and intimidate her into silence. For over 5 decades, the surviving members of the Rolling Stones have maintained a steadfast public silence regarding the persistent conspiracy theories surrounding Brian's death. Their refusal to openly engage with the allegations has only intensified speculation and fueled the flames of suspicion among fans and investigators alike. Is it simply a desire to move on from a painful past? Or are they protecting a deeper, darker secret about what truly happened to their founder? Despite the passage of time, the mystery refuses to fade, prompting numerous unofficial investigations by dedicated journalists and authors. In 2009, the Sussex Police even conducted a review of the case, acknowledging new evidence and witness testimonies. However, despite the mounting questions and new leads, authorities have thus far refused to officially reopen the case or consider exhuming Brian's body, leaving justice for many unserved. One, Brian Jones's death at the tragically young age of 27 cemented his place as one of the very first and most prominent members of the infamous 27 Club. This grim pantheon of rock and roll legends, including Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison, would all follow him in quick succession, adding a haunting, mythic quality to his untimely demise. He was a harbinger of rock's dark side. Brian Jones remains the enduring ghost haunting the Rolling Stones' storied history. The brilliant, fragile visionary who helped forge an empire, but who couldn't survive its overwhelming demands. His tragic story serves as a stark cautionary tale about unchecked excess, the brutal realities of the music industry, and the devastating price of fame. Many argue that after his death, a vital part of the Stones' creative soul was extinguished forever. Do you think the band lost something essential after Brian's passing? Let us know in the comments. So, as we bring Brian Jones's tumultuous story to a close, the central question still lingers. Was his death a tragic accident, the unfortunate result of a rock star's self-destructive lifestyle? Or was it a more sinister end? A deliberate act of violence covered up to protect reputations and careers. The evidence is complex, the testimonies conflicting, and the official narrative still leaves many questions unanswered. What do you believe happened to the original Rolling Stone? Hit that like button if you found this deep dive into rock history compelling, and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking stories. Want to keep watching? Just click one of the videos on screen and start a new deep dive into the rich history of rock and roll.